small glass of water. But when he glanced up to see the waitress hovering at his elbow, he said firmly, 2 cream of tomato soups, 2 avocado and grapefruit salads, 2 filet mignons medium rare, 2 hot artichokes, 2 shoestring potatoes, and 2 plum puddings with brandy sauce.
"Chief,"
Delastreet exclaimed.
"I was only kidding."
You should never kid at mealtime, he told her sternly.
"But I can't eat all that."
This, he said, is poetic justice for lying to your employer. Then to the waitress, go ahead and start bringing it on. Don't listen to any protests. The waitress smiled and departed. Delastreet said,
"Now I suppose I'll have to live on bread and water for a week to keep from putting on weight." "Don't you like to watch people in a place like this, Chief?"
He nodded, his steady, tolerant eyes moving from table to table, appraising the occupants in swift scrutiny.
"Tell me, Chief," she
said,
"you've seen human nature in the raw. You've seen people torn and twisted by emotions which have ripped aside all of the hypocrisy and pretense of everyday life. Does it make you frightfully cynical?"
Quite the contrary, he told her. People have their strong points and their weak points. The true philosopher sees them as they are and is never disappointed because he doesn't expect too much. The cynic is one who starts out with a false pattern and becomes disappointed because people don't conform to that pattern. Most of the little chiseling practices come from trying to cope with our economic conventions. When it comes right down to fundamentals, people are fairly dependable. The neighbor who would cheat you out of a pound of sugar would risk her life to save you from drowning. Delastreet thought that over, then said,
"There's a lot of difference in people. Look at that aggressive woman over there at the left, bullying the poor waitress, and contrast her with that white-haired woman who's standing over there by the window, the one who has such a benign, motherly look. She's so placid, so homey, so—"
Mason said, "As it happens, Della, the woman's a shoplifter."
"What?"
she exclaimed. "And," Mason went on, "the man who's standing over by the cashier's desk, apparently trying to cash a check, is a store detective who's followed her in here."
"How do you know she's a shoplifter, Chief?"
"Notice the way she keeps her left arm rigidly at her side. She's holding something under that long tweed coat. I happen to know the store detective. I was in court once when he was testifying on a case at... Notice the way the woman's turned her head. I believe she knows she's being followed."
"Will she sit down and start eating?"
Della asked, her eyes wide with interest. "Probably not. She must have quite a bit of stuff concealed under her coat. It would be difficult to eat without... there she goes into the restroom."
"Now what?"
Delastreet asked. "If she's wise she's being followed," Mason said, "she'll probably ditch the stuff in the restroom. There's the store detective going over to talk with the colored maid. They'll try to handle the thing very quietly."
"I can't imagine her being a shoplifter,"
Delastreet protested.
"The white hair, the high forehead, the calm, steady eyes, and the sensitive mouth. It just isn't possible."
Mason said thoughtfully, "My experience has taught me that when a person with an honest face has stolen goods in his possession, the face is usually a mask, carefully cultivated as a stock in trade." Their waitress brought them steaming, fragrant soup. The maid appeared in the door of the restroom and nodded briefly to the store detective. A moment later, the white-haired woman emerged and walked directly to an adjoining table, which had been set for 2, with bread, butter, water glasses, knives, and forks in place. She calmly seated herself. Mason heard an exclamation at his elbow.
"Oh, there you are, Aunt Sarah. I lost you."
The lawyer looked up to see a tallish young woman who moved with quick decision. As he glimpsed her moist gray eyes, his courtroom experience told him there was fear in her voice. The white-haired woman's voice, on the other hand, showed no fear, only calm poise.
"I lost you somewhere in the crowd, Ginny, so I decided I'd come up and have a cup of tea. At my age, I found it never pays to worry. I knew you were perfectly capable of taking care of yourself, calling a cab and going home. But I didn't know about you,"
the girl said, seating herself with a nervous laugh, high-pitched with apprehension.
"I wasn't certain you were all right, Aunt Sarah." "I'm always all right, Ginny. Never worry about me. Always remember that no matter what happens, I'll take care of myself and—"
The store detective interposed his bulk between Mason's eyes and the face of the white-haired woman. "I'm very sorry, madam," he said, "but I'm going to have to ask you to step into the office." Mason heard a quick gasp of consternation from the girl, but the woman's voice remained calmly placid.
"I have no intention of stepping into the office, young man. I'm about to eat lunch. If anyone in the office wishes to